Nathaniel Bandy. Striving for originality.
This Top 10 intro is brought to you by VectorStar Productions.
Boy, have I been wanting to make this list for a long time. I did want to make it special though, so I have a YouTuber, Chari5, here to help create and write this list out.
Hi. Hello. Hey.
If you've seen any of the Video Game CinemaSins videos, you know who this guy is. This list consists of only the main series Sonic games. We decided to fray away from any of the spin-off titles.
So no Sonic R, sorry guys. Yeah, sorry.
So without further ado, way cool! I'm gonna be honest, if this were just my list, I wouldn't be adding this game. But it's not just mine, I ain't gonna be a hogger. Kind of sad to think that there's so few Sonic games that this makes the list. Anyway, Sonic Adventure can be fun in small spades. The best part of the game is the Sonic stages, of course, but everything else is a problem. The cutscenes are so bad that it's just comedic. There's no sense of direction as of where to go after beating a stage. I'm sorry, I just can't go on any longer. Chari, this is all you, man.
Well, spoiler warning, Sonic Adventure 2 is not on this list. Yeah, but look, to be fair, neither game aged really well. This is Sonic's first 3D adventure, and it really shows. You can choose from 6 different characters, and that's a lot of gameplay styles. While Adventure 2 tried to simplify the gameplay styles, SA1 I think did a better job, Big's fishing adventure aside. You have Sonic's high-speed platform, which is great for the most part. Tails has a bit of a spin on Sonic's gameplay style where you have to race a character in each stage. Knuckles has a dreaded treasure hunting, which I like the level design and control better in Adventure 2, but the radar is miles better here. Amy consists of platforming puzzles, I guess, trying to escape from one of Eggman's robots. Big is...
Grab it.
Is that a hit? E102 Gamma is actually a really fun character to play as. I'd say I like him more than the mechs in Adventure 2, if only for the time stages and how short those stages are. In Sonic's case at least, it's basically Sonic's classic adventures brought into a 3D environment. This game features hub worlds, which are very disorienting the first time around. Heck, I'd say that even to this day, it's still not perfectly clear what it is you need to do. While the story is taking itself way too seriously, it's not too bad. I just wish there was more of a balance between the characters in terms of stages. Sonic has the most and the list only goes down from there. The bosses are nothing great and the cutscenes, ugh. Aside from that, I won't deny that I think both adventure games are pretty fun with what they tried to do, but they could have been so much better. So much better.
There's a lot of mixed reception about Sonic Heroes. We're pretty big fans of the game and we love how different it is. So, you start off by picking a team. All the teams are basically the same aside from Team Chaotix. You run through stages like any other 3D Sonic game, but you actually play as 3 characters at once. Now that may sound like it'd be madness, but it actually isn't all that bad. You have 3 categories of characters: Speed, Fly, and Power. Playing as the Speed character allows you to go relatively fast. Fly lets you access higher areas, and Power can help you take out hordes of enemies and some obstacles. This may not be the fastest Sonic game, but it's fun switching between the 3 characters. You can also fill up a Team Blast meter. It basically just wipes out everything on the screen. My only real gripe with the game is how short it is, and some of the bosses are particularly annoying to play through.
Another problem I have with this game is the control sometimes. You can be going really fast, wanting to come to a stop only for your momentum to decide to carry over. It can lead to some pretty unfair falls. You also have to beat the game 4 times essentially to reach the last story. And those special stages. Ugh, those special stages. It's little stuff like that that makes me like Adventure 1 and 2 more than this game, but I won't deny that this game is technically better. Don't get me wrong, I really love this game, but it does have its fair share of issues. Aside from that, I think the game's aesthetics are beautiful. Every level is unique, colorful, and memorable. The team mechanic I think is used fairly well, although I would like to see it be used again, just in a more stable fashion. This game may have been the calm before the storm, but it's a pretty fun calm.
Number 8.
Is it just me, or is Sonic Rush not talked about enough? This was the first Sonic game I got on the DS, and I had just finished playing through the Sonic Advance trilogy. To my surprise, the game plays fluidly and looks fantastic. All the locales are really varied and different, which honestly isn't saying a lot considering most Sonic games are like that. You can play as Sonic and a new character, Blaze the Cat. Thankfully, they both play exactly the same. One of the biggest new features in this game is a boost gauge. If you attack enemies, collect rings, and perform other tasks while playing, your gauge meter builds up. Using the boost makes you fly through levels 100 times faster than you normally already play. What's great is that if Sonic or Blaze comes to a stop, you can use the boost to immediately gain full speed again. The bosses are admittedly not the best, but they did a lot with the DS hardware. It's really cool that the game uses both the top and bottom screen for the stages, but it can also be a bit disorienting if you aren't fully focused.
I wasn't all too crazy to play this game at first. In fact, I played Rush Adventure before the original Rush, but only because I didn't even know Rush had a sequel. I agree, Nate, the game is totally ignored for the most part, and to be honest, I don't know why that is. Is it because it's on the DS? I really don't understand considering that the Rush series, especially the first Rush, is so fun to play through. A lot of people say that the point of Sonic games is to go really fast while platforming. I don't agree with that thought personally, but I feel like Sonic Rush is that thought. I don't think that there's ever a moment where you're not going fast. To add to what Nate said, to say that the bosses aren't the best would be an understatement. I think I remember the first and the last boss of the game, and that's it. But hey, you can recreate the Sonic OVA fight with Sonic and Blaze.
Number 7.
Wanna hear a joke? Sega CD! I know, hilarious. But there actually was a few good games on this add-on. Sonic CD didn't use as much full-motion video crap that the Sega CD offered, but instead focused on making the levels more complex and crazier than ever. This is the first game to introduce Metal Sonic and Amy, which is pretty cool. While the stages look fantastic to this day and still play well, I've noticed how hectic some of them can be. Some levels are so big that I honestly don't know what to do or where to go sometimes. The big gimmick is that you can time travel to the past or the future. You run through a sign and basically have to maintain a certain speed for a certain amount of time. If you lose too much speed, you won't be able to teleport. Some stages make it very difficult to time travel, but when you pull it off, it's pretty neat watching the entire stage change visually. If you go to the past, the level will actually be easier to complete, while going to the future will make the levels harder.
I never fully played this game until making this list. I'd always heard about, man, Sonic CD is amazing, and yeah, it's pretty good. I guess someone at Sega heard that people liked how bright and colorful Sonic 1 was because good lord is this game bright and colorful. Perhaps too much. Sometimes I get disoriented and have to go back and forth because I didn't know where to go. I'm looking at you, Wacky Workbench, and especially Stardust Speedway. As for the time travel mechanic, I never used it on purpose. To me, it was too much of a hassle to get the good ending, and an alternate way is to collect 50 rings and jump through a special ring at the end of the stage. But those are really disorienting. Overall, I like the level design, albeit a bit too overdone for my taste, and the bosses are actually quite memorable. My only thing with the game was that I felt it was too short. Anybody else? No?
Number 6.
Here we have a very underrated Sonic trilogy. The Sonic Advance series is known for having really great 2D Sonic games. Nobody seems to talk about them, which is a shame because they're such a blast to play. You really feel a sense of speed when moving for a lot of reasons. First off, when your character moves fast enough, you'll start to see shadows of him from behind. It's an interesting effect that doesn't really add anything to the game, but it looks neat. The music is really good for the Game Boy Advance. All the songs have a nice catchy beat. I like how in the beginning you have a little countdown and a peg to help you gain some speed from the get-go. I really like the music world, as you just kind of bounce around across all these different types of instruments. It's quite funny to witness.
Sonic Advance 2 is either a game you love or you hate. I'm more on the side of hate. I love the Sonic Advance trilogy, and I'm not saying that I think Advance 2 is a bad game, no, but someone definitely turned up the dimps meter in this game. Dimps, for those that don't know, are the developers of the Advance series, the Rush games, and even some of Sonic's later games. They're pretty well known for having these problems in Sonic games. That and the boost pads. Man, do they not want you to stop even though sometimes you have to. Every problem I had with Advance 1 was worsened here, from enemies you don't see to a bundle of bottomless pits. On top of that, the game has to have the most infuriating bosses I've ever experienced. Again, I'd never played the game until this list, and man, I'm looking at you, Egg Saucer. No. No. Why? No! Please stop! Aside from that, let's move on to the next point to tell you what I do like about this game.
Number 5.
While Sonic Advance 2 is great on its own, we prefer the first Sonic Advance. One of the most notable things to be said is how fantastic the level design is. I like how there's a variety of ways to move forward. One minute you'll be bouncing on a spring, then you'll be swinging across a rope or hanging onto a conveyor. It's a lot of assets for a Game Boy Advance title. It keeps the game feeling really fresh and fun. You can also play as more characters than just Sonic. These include Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Tails has the ability to fly and makes getting through a lot of the levels pretty easy. He's basically the easy mode in this game. Knuckles is my personal favorite to use because he can glide and can climb up walls. Climbing up walls is fun. Amy is the worst character to play as for one huge reason. She doesn't roll into a ball when jumping. The only way to kill enemies is to come to a stop and use her hammer. You can swing her hammer in the air, but the timing is precise on actually hitting anything. This completely defeats the purpose of moving fast like you're supposed to in a Sonic game. You can't even gain speed and push down to roll into a ball. If you try to spin dash, all she does is this lame jump kick that doesn't even hurt enemies. Do not play as her at all costs. While the music is a bit staticky, it's overall still really good as most Sonic music is. The graphics are fantastic for a Game Boy game. Everything is nice and vibrant. I've noticed the camera can fall behind the character sometimes, which can lead to some unfair hits. This generally happens when you're dropping down for a while. The bosses are all original and are just difficult enough to not be unfair.
While Advance 3 was my first Sonic Advance game, I think the first entry in the series is the best for its simplicity and overall just how fun it is. It's the classic games brought back in a sense. I really want to see this sort of idea fleshed out into a 3D title. You will go fast. A lot. But you don't necessarily have to, and the game doesn't punish you for that, unlike... I remember not really liking Advance 1 as a kid, but since I've gone back to play it, it's a lot of fun. But make no mistake, while it starts out fun, later levels will challenge you no matter who you're playing as. I love how most characters feel like they have the same attributes but have their own abilities. For the most part, this is what a Sonic game should handle like.
Number 4.
So my first experience with Sonic games on the Wii was Sonic and the Secret Rings. Since that was a horrible tragedy, I never tried Sonic Colors until later down on in my life. Needless to say, I really missed out on a fresh experience. The game starts you off in a world that isn't all green and pretty. That lets you know that things are a little different. So the main gimmick in Sonic Colors is these Wisp characters. You can grant access to them in the levels and play the levels differently. You would think this would ruin the game by slowing it down, but it actually complements the experience. The level design is fantastic and really unique for a platforming game. It is Sonic though, so I'm not surprised. What's nice is that while the game goes pretty fast, it's not so fast that you can't keep track of where you're going. There's this world with this popcorn and I don't know, but it's just really funny running through it. The inclusion of a small double jump is really nice because it helps with some of the harder platforming. If you miss your jump and are about to fall, you can save yourself with a double jump if you're fast enough. Most of the levels are pretty short, which is nice if you don't have that much time to play long levels. Plus, there's a lot more acts than there normally is, so there's not any less content than there usually is.
This was pretty much the first Sonic game I followed online. Every time there was news on the game, I had to know about it. I have to agree with Nate, after the train wreck that was Secret Rings, I was a bit cautious about this game since it was also exclusively on the Wii, and the new voice cast, which was a huge deal at the time, but who cares anymore. Fun fact, the day this game came out, my cousin's first child was born. That's how I remember her birthday. I'm a horrible uncle. This game also has a ton of sentimental value to me. A ton. It was the first Sonic game I ever 100% completed as a result. The story was pretty lackluster, but the gameplay did not suffer at all from it. You like the day stages in Sonic Unleashed and wish the Werehog were never a thing? Well, look no further. Colors has got you covered. The Wisps I thought were pretty lame at first, but after I understood how they worked, I thought they were the best addition to the franchise in a long time. Also, Sonic can go underwater in this game and swim. Sort of. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Number 3.
In the OOs, wait, how do you say that? OOs,
Thousands,
zeros,
O's,
aughts?
I don't
We need
know.
to figure
Yeah,
that out.
yeah.
Anyway, in the aughts, there was a huge change in Sonic games. Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed. All of these games are either mediocre or just awful. However, Sonic Generation comes out of nowhere and brings things back to the basics. And let me tell you, it's one hell of an experience. All the stages you play are remakes from any of the older main series games. What's cool is that you can play the stage in 2D and in 3D. It's incredible playing Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone in 3D and City Escape in 2D. The best thing I can say about this game is the control. They finally got it right. The 2D stages play beautifully and have plenty of fast sections consistently throughout the whole game. The 3 stages control like the daytime Sonic stages and Sonic Unleashed, so they're all incredibly fun and fast. It's hilarious how there's a remake of a Sonic 06 stage in the game. The best asset of that game isn't even in the game itself. On top of that, the bosses are all throwbacks, and there's even tons of challenge stages which offer some fun replayability. You even get to fight off against Metal Sonic, Shadow, and Silver.
This game is just beautiful. Beautiful. I was so hyped for this game, I couldn't wait to get it on the Xbox 360, so I had a copy on my totally not powerful enough to play it laptop. It lagged like hell, I'm talking 5 frames per second, and I still had a fantastic time. That's saying something. Everything sounds amazing, looks incredible, and controls fantastically. The bosses are fun twists on their original incarnations. A lot of people think they're awesome, I just think they're great. My only problem with this game is that it's too short. The story is meh, but there's only 9 levels, 18 stages total. You can easily beat the game in an hour or so. This game had so much potential for DLC and we only got pinball. Oh well, that's not gonna stop me from loving this game.
Number 2.
Talk about a beautiful looking game. Sonic 2 on the Genesis just explodes with color. There's so much polish added from the first game. The level design is much more fair, the addition of the spin dash is so vital to the series that it's included in almost all other Sonic titles now. Every world is classic, they all have a lot of charm. Most notable of course is Chemical Plant Zone, and I personally love Hilltop Zone for the sweet looking blue colors. Tails is introduced of course, and can actually be played as for co-op. The main problem with that is Sonic is just too fast and Tails can never keep up, but that's besides the point. Sonic 2 was made to be a single player game.
Hey look, it's the first video game I ever played. This game is so close to my heart and for the longest time it was my favorite video game. A lot improved from Sonic 1. The colors, the spin dash, the level design, the spin dash, the bosses were more interesting, there was more weight to what you did, and did I mention the spin dash? Yeah, it's that great. It was a mechanic that so many other things would use after this game and for good reason. It's creative and very useful for platforming. Super Sonic. He's hard as blue balls to unlock, but man is he worth it. And that final boss, when I beat it without cheating for the first time, you have no idea how accomplished I felt. But I think you all know what our number 1 pick was.
And now, the number 1 best Sonic game ever is... That's right, Sonic 1 isn't on this list. Our number 1 pick has to be Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because the series was at its prime when this game was released. The visuals were improved even further, and now you can play as Tails or Knuckles individually. Keep in mind, we're talking about the and Knuckles version, not just Sonic 3. Anyway, playing as Tails allowed you to fly to great heights, and Knuckles allowed you to glide and climb up and down walls. On top of that, there were new shields for each character, which are all a blast to use. The water shield gives you infinite bounces, the electric shield gives you a second jump, plus rings are attracted to you, and the fire shield allows you to launch forward like a fireball. All of these additions make the game really enjoyable, and since the game is technically a combination of Sonic and Knuckles, it's longer than most 2D Sonic games are.
I hated this game as a kid. Hated it. I couldn't get past Marble Garden Act 1, and the special stages, which you can now find hidden throughout most levels, I thought were stupidly hard. I stayed away from this game for the longest time. Then I started seeing a lot of reviews for the game saying how amazing it was, how it was the best classic game, and I just had to go back and see what everyone was talking about. I'm so glad I did. I finally got to see the rest of the game and realized that the special stages weren't just easy, but man, were they fun and challenging too. Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. Most games wish they could have multiple and unique campaigns at the time, and this game does it great. They're all fast. Sonic has shield abilities, Tails can fly, and Knuckles can glide and climb up walls. Can't jump as high though. But who cares? Super Sonic is back, and now we have an even more powerful super form. Hypersonic. I don't like calling the game Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It was all meant to be one game after all, and boy does it show. This game is long. Not to worry though, it now has a save feature. Not only that, but it has mini bosses. But wait, every act has a different music track, and oh, what a soundtrack. But wait, this game is the first to include a secret final boss if you get all the Chaos Emeralds. This game just has it all. If you haven't played it, give it a shot. You'll probably fall in love with it just like I did. Hey guys, Charai5 here. I just want to thank Nate real quick for inviting me over to do this top 10 with him. In case you don't know who I am, I do animation and voiceover here on YouTube, as well as some other things like parodies, which are kind of popular, I guess.
And don't forget to leave a like or dislike. Please feel free to leave a comment as well, and tell us what Sonic game you think is the best and why. Hop on the
Bandy wagon and follow his Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr. What? No, but you said I could do it. Nate, no. We agreed. You said I could do it. I'm doing it. No, you're leaving it in. Nate, you said I could do it. No, that's not fair. Fine. Make sure to subscribe to NB, and until next time, stay safe, stay awesome.
Whoa, a top 10 hardest Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform stages? That's a long title, but a great top 10. And everything wrong with Sonic and the Secret Rings? You definitely gotta check that out. It's way better than what I made. And the Stone Cutter, what on earth is that? Well, I'll just say it's an awful Let's Play. Like, the game is awful. The Let's Play is really funny. You're gonna enjoy it. So,